Hello everyone, my name is Ultimus, and today we are here to ask the question, can you beat Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Night, without dying? In order to answer this question, let's go over some ground rules. First off, no dying. If I die, that's it. We restart the entire game. Number 2, no leveling. Because this is an RPG, there's leveling functions in which that I, in my many years of brilliance, have decided to turn off. This will severely limit our HP and damage throughout the game. And number 3 is no looking up anything. I want this to be an entirely solo-focused adventure. Most enemies of this game can be walked right past with little challenge, and because of this and the no XP rule, we just run past and dash past almost every single early game enemy. It's not enough to just walk past every enemy. There are many bosses in this game, and many mini-bosses. While the major bosses allow you to get a new way of exploring the map, the mini-bosses also allow you to get a new attack, which can oftentimes be very valuable. In order to get an ending, we need to reach the other side of the entire map, and in order to do that, we need to beat 4 major bosses: Garad, Dark Witch Elaine, Sylvia, and Ulv. Garad and Dark Witch Elaine can be fought in either order, but there's a soul we desperately need for the Dark Witch, so we'll be taking her on after Garad. That soul we need is the Headless Defender. His fight is pretty easy, in which he only hits us actually one time, and our reward is the soul that we desperately need, although almost never use. Garad is the first real boss in the game, and while none of his attacks are necessarily hard to dodge, he's arguably the most tanky boss in this entire run. I only died to him twice, and the first time was because I had very little experience fighting him, and the second time was because I got very frustrated. His large amounts of HP leads to you getting frustrated and wanting to take the fight fast, and you don't really have the tools to do that yet. With Garad finished off, we get to one of the most annoying parts in the entire run, something I call the Collectathon. First, we get a Priestess's Wish, which will give us more healing on our prayers, and next, over the next 15 minutes, we back travel to nearly every single screen, getting things such as souls, which will upgrade our attacks, and amulet fragments that give us much needed HP. However, there's one major trick that I discovered while playing the game that is very helpful. You see, this chest right here holds an amulet gem, which gives us a total of 20 extra HP. The jump itself is relatively hard to get, but we managed to get it first try this attempt. From there, we get a few more things before we eventually go down and under the water into the Witch's Thicket. It's here where I want to get off on my first side tangent, and one of the first major reasons why I wanted to make this video. This game is beautiful. There are few games that I can remember with scenery that is this beautiful as this screen. This entire area is one of the most beautiful areas in any game that I have played in a very long time. And while yeah, it's mostly just things that we rush past in this challenge, I truly do love this game, and if you think it's interesting, I highly suggest that you play it, as there's a lot more to this game and the story than what I'm going to explain today. But as far as the challenge goes, most of this area is the same. We just run past most of the enemies, fight the 2 major mini-bosses, one of which is the Fungal Sorceress that gives us a very good attack that does a lot of stamina damage. And now we get to some more very fun and interactive gameplay, which is running past enemies and doing puzzles. Yeah, this entire area is very beautiful, but it's also very big, and most enemies can just be walk past. We finally get to the bench, we sort out our relics, upgrade our Western Merchant, which is just a little bird that attacks free for us, and now we get to the Dark Witch Elaine. While Garad is the first boss of the game, the Dark Witch is the first actually interesting boss. She mostly spams projectiles and starts the trend of bosses that constantly run away from you. Most of her attacks leave her open to about 2 to 3 hits after you dodge before she teleports away and attacks again. This is the first fight where your spirits, the attacks you unlock from mini-bosses, really help. The tornado attack in particular is especially useful as combined with the original spirit that you unlock from Sylvia, the tutorial boss, it provides a huge burst of damage at any one time. However, the real MVP of this fight is that spirit we talked about earlier, the Headless Defender. The third phase of this fight switches up, and after every single attack, it will teleport behind you and attack with the special attack. This attack leaves her wide open to a counter, which does insane stagger damage. With the Dark Witch Elaine defeated, we now have unlocked the Witch's Bubble, which allows us to move underwater. This has unlocked even more items across the world, which we have to go back and collect. This will give us both a bunch of HP and a way to upgrade some of our attacks. This is the part of the run where we really start feeling the effects of the level 1 challenge. Normally by this point in the game, you could be anywhere from level 20 to 40. This means we're missing out on around 30 damage per hit. And this will only get worse as the game continues. But after swimming around for a while, we come to one of the hardest areas in the game, the catacombs. To put into perspective this area, the water is filled with blood that poisons you. The skulls are of fallen knights of the Old Kingdom that are everywhere. Giant spiders come down to attack you, archers shoot you from every angle, and it feels like everything is out to get you. Because it is. The poison water, spider, and archers are all able to be bypassed in most places with good pathing. But in this place, it's hard to tell where you're even going. And unfortunately, there's no good summons we get in this place. All of them are pretty useless in comparison to the ones we already have. With the only really useful pickup being a healing prayer that increases our recovery amount, but even that's close to the end of this area. But in order to get there, we're gonna have to get through a lockdown room. There's a total of 5 of these lockdown rooms in this challenge, and each has either killed a run or gotten me so low I was forced to backtrack to heal just to take on the room again. These areas are dangerous and end up being one of the biggest choke points in the entire run. Once the first few are down, we can use the Dark Witch's soul to attack safely from afar. And I get to rant about this place. You see, for some reason, I decided it would be fun to not look up anything for this challenge. Even maps. So I had to figure out where I was going completely off of memory. Of a game that I had beaten over 2 years ago. The most frustrating part is that the first time I got here, I didn't even make it to the lockdown room. I died in the first room. I got chain hit into the bloody water that killed me. Luckily, the rest of this area is just going in winding paths, rushing past enemies that aren't in your way, and stunning the ones that are. Sometimes having to come to a stop to deal with enemies, but most of the time you're able to just rush past them. It comes down to pathing and having a good knowledge of the area. With that, you need to constantly keep going forward and make sure that you never get cornered. This area is definitely the most frustrating place in the entire run for me, as even going fast, it takes over an hour to get here, and this place can take 30 minutes on its own just to clear. Problem is that if you go any faster than that, then you're going to end up dying and going back to the very start. Eventually, we make it to the training grounds of the Guardian, and one of my favorite bosses in this entire game, Guardian Silva. The first phase of this fight revolves around her jumping around all over the place, attacking with short-ranged attacks that leave her open afterwards. Her most dangerous attack is jumping back with a spray of projectiles. This can one-shot you from full HP if you get hit by all of them, as they don't give you any invincibility frames. So make sure to dodge at proper timings and rush her down, as it's the only way to progress this fight quickly. Once she enters her second phase, prepare for a slog, as now every one of her attacks can chain into her jumping away, preventing you from getting any real good damage in. As well as she can chain jumping away into another jump. This makes it almost impossible to get any meaningful damage in on her. This phase can take you a long time, and it makes you attack and press forward, otherwise she will always be just out of your range. Make sure to take any little bit of damage you can get, not be greedy, and with enough patience, you'll make it through this phase. After her first health ball falls, prepare for a complete change of pace. As the corruption completely takes over her body, she goes into a gargantuan form that resembles nothing of the Guardian she used to be. Gameplay-wise, the fight changes a lot, as she goes from this evasive fighter to a massive behemoth that constantly rushes you down, with projectiles to attack you from afar. Her most dangerous attack summons giant pillars around her that can one-shot. It's imperative to stay far away from that attack when you see it coming, but it also leaves her wide open to be attacked from range. Surviving with literally 1 HP left, we barely managed to live through this fight. But with Sylvia defeated, we've unlocked special attacks that deal a lot of damage but require us to charge them up by damaging enemies. Unfortunately, things will only get harder from now on, as even though we exit the catacombs, we make it to the Twin Towers. And of course, the first thing I do is foolishly fight a mini-boss that we don't even use in this run. This is out of the way, and definitely would never cause any deaths whatsoever. This is the Twin Spires, the last area in this challenge, and with it comes 4 more lockdown rooms and 1 more major boss. If we beat that, then we're done. Most enemies in this place are placed in choke points or on hills, and mimics that hide in crates. Add that with flying enemies that harass you constantly, axe throwers that just are being really annoying, elevators that give you time constraints. It makes every single screen in this entire area stressful and challenging. One mistake really could set you back a full 2 hours at this point. But perhaps the hardest thing about the Twin Spires is the amount of screens you have to get past without heals. We only have 3 heals to make it from bench to bench, and sometimes that means getting past 5+ screens with over 40 enemies, and only a limited amount of HP and spirit usage means that we're going to have to be really careful, or else we really are going to have to be spent back 2 hours. And now comes the first of the 4 lockdown rooms. Only 3 gargoyles, how bad could it really be? Only after defeating them do we realize that we have to do that again, back to back. So, going back and healing, we're gonna have to try this one more time and do it a little bit better. With 2 out of the 4 lockdown rooms completed, we enter a room with 2 blighted dragons. In my opinion, this is the last truly hard room before the final boss for this challenge. We cannot progress until we defeat all of the enemies, but we can backtrack and heal, resetting the room if we need to. With the pathway unlocked, we go up an elevator, full of enemies, to what is our final fight. Standing amidst a field of flowers, faces our final foe, Ulv the Mad Knight. First phase is similar to Silva, with the constant movement and dashes. First phase is similar to Silva, with the constant movement, dashes, and jumps, each of which give time to punish afterwards. The main difference is you want Ulv to come towards you. You want to bait out Ulv's attacks, punishing afterwards, instead of trying to always rush after him. As with all of his jumps, you're going to end up taking contact damage a lot more if you end up rushing after him. So I haven't been completely honest. If you saw the amount of time left in the video, you might have already figured out, but this was not the end. No, this was the bottom. The end was so close, but now, just one more run, right? there's one thing you should know about me, is that I'm stubborn. But dying so close, multiple times, both to mini bosses you don't even need to fight, it may have hurt, but all it did was make me more determined to see this through. But with some help from finding ancient souls that increase the damage of my main attack, I set out for one final time to see if you truly can beat Ender Lilies Deathless at level 1.
Oh my. Oh, let's go. Oh my gosh, my heart.
With that, there is no more fights left in the run. With that, there is no more fights left in the run. There is no more enemies to defeat. There are no more bosses to look forward to. All we can do is scale a wall, swim through an ocean, swim through a river, make it to the Hinterlands, where we make the fateful choice. With that, the White Priestess purifies us, as the blight was never our burden to carry. She thanks us for what we have done and promises to keep the blight contained for as long as she can. Her only request is that we live a quiet life far from here and the endless rain. When we wake, our knight, who protected us the entire journey, tells us we must go alone, as his spirit is locked to this place. So in the final moments, the two share one final hug, and with that, we have indeed proven that it is possible to beat Ender Lilies at level 1 permadeath. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all soon.